Welcome everyone to another self-growth video. I hope you enjoy this video. I think this is going to be pretty interesting. I think this is a topic. What I'm going to speak about is something that's going to be really relatable to a lot of people, or that people have this feel that they themselves are this type of person, or that they know people that they feel that have these abilities, or are this type of person, or that I'm going to mention, that I'm going to speak about in this video. But if you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe and comment. Tell me what you think about this video. If you disagree, agree. And also, what do you think about how I'm representing them, how I can do better and all of that. Or also tell me if you think I have no potential. That would be interesting also. Anyhow, I'm going to speak about basically people that have a lot of potential, a lot of talent, but they destroy themselves. And they're in a whole big mess. And so I know a lot of people relate to these, or think they're themselves that type of person. They might be, or that they know someone that they see, look, this guy, I see so much talent and potential in him, and look what he's doing with his life. He's destroying it. He's in a whole bit in a mess and jumble. But so that's what I'd like to speak about, and trying to understand understand it in depth, what's going on really over there, and how to get over it. So when talent becomes trapped, we're going to speak about how this happens, and how this happens, and what the solution is, how to take care of it, and so let's get started. So when talent becomes trapped, so many people don't fail. Many talented people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because their inner world sabotages their potential. So how does this happen? Talent creates a lot of intensity. And I was thinking about this a lot. So there's two ways of saying it. Talent creates a lot of intensity, or intensity could create potential talent. And I would think Hashem gives us, well, talent is the result in a certain way, but Hashem gives us potential. Hashem gives us potential for the good. And therefore, I think it's almost more natural to go towards talent, but we'll see that doesn't work like that in life in general. So I think the potential is created for talent. That's the purpose of the potential, of the strength, of the pressure we're going to talk about. But it could turn towards the bad in many scenarios and sabotage your life. And that's why I think the best way, so it's talented people, talent creates intensity, which it's like I was saying, it's maybe the opposite also. Intensity creates talent. Intensity are the ingredients. It's the ingredient for talent, but it's one of the ingredients. It's the power, it's the engine. But then you need the direction. And Hashem gave you the engine, but wants you to find the direction over here. And so intense people have potential. Talented people often feel things more strongly, stronger imagination, desires, emotions, and inner pressure, and a strong call to become something and to do something great. That's what talented people. So what happens? So you think that's great. That should cause you to become such a great person. You're a gifted person. Look, it's telling you to do something great. Then great, you got everything in you, and now why is it so hard for you to do it? So the intensity seeks, so basically it causes inner pressure and intensity, and this intensity seeks relief. Now, the best scenario would be that this relief comes from you doing great things with it and releasing your intensity in great, projects and great things. But if it doesn't find it in a good way or in a positive way, it will end up in an unhealthy way. It will end up being released in an unhealthy way. So what does it mean that intensity seeks relief? So when pressure builds, intensity comes from unused potential and high expectations without structure. So you have a lot of plans in mind, you have a lot of expectations, and you really want to do something, but you don't have a structure. Again, it's the engine with no direction. And because of that, it needs to go somewhere. It's an engine with no place to drive, and it's trying to go, and it doesn't know where should I put my this relief, this pressure, this potential into. And it comes out that it releases it. So the brain seeks release. How do I feel better right now? We have to understand the way the brain works. The brain, unlike a lot of people think that the brain is you, the brain is only a tool. What does that mean? The brain doesn't always think moral and all of that. Your neshama, your soul, speaks about more, is more connected to morality and all of that. But your brain is a tool, and it thinks, as maybe you would call in Hebrew, tachlis, practical speaking. What am I going to do right now? I need this body that I'm working, that I'm its tool, the brain. So I need to figure out what to do with this. I'm the computer for this body over here. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this potential, this intensity that's basically about to explode and going to destroy me if I don't release it in some way. So it scans for dopamine or numbing and distractions and comfort. So this, we have to understand, this is automatic, not to try saying that we're terrible people because of this and all of that. If we didn't structure our lives in the right way, then it happens automatically. And you start slowly, it starts escaping all these, the easiest ways, which the easiest ways are usually not the best ways, because truth and the right thing is always harder. Structure is always harder at the beginning than false and things that don't have a structure. So the brain looks for relief. It scans right now. It scans for the easiest way to get relief, maybe sometimes the strongest way to relieve yourself. And then the escape turns into a drain. What happens next? You escape. So great. So you escape. So now go back to potential. But no, because you had so much potential and so much in mind and so many plans, you just destroyed yourself in a certain way, or you feel like you destroyed yourself. I had so much potential. And what did I do? Just wasted my time on the phone scrolling, or procrastinating, or pornography, or whatever it is. And therefore you start basically the struggle hijacks mental energy and motivation and self-trust. So you stop trusting yourself. I promise I'm going to do this. I made a commitment. I made a goal, and I didn't manage it. It makes you stop trusting yourself. Your self-esteem, your self-esteem is lowered. You have low self-esteem, and basically you feel finished, beaten, and all of that, which causes basically you need more relief and more to get out of your feelings right now, and it causes a whole circle thing over here. So I'll give two examples, and one of them is pornography, and the second one is procrastination and perfectionism. So pornography is that dopamine spikes replace real drive. So basically, dopamine is a way of releasing energy, and basically you, instead of using real purpose and making a track that you go on, you escape and release it in small dopamine, in a big amount of dopamine, which pornography provides a lot of dopamine. Motivation becomes dependent on stimulation. So what does that mean, that motivation becomes dependent on stimulation? It means the normal goals and normal way of becoming better in life becomes much harder for you, because you're used to high stimulation, which pornography brings. And then afterwards, normal things you don't connect to them anymore. Normal growing slowly and growing in a steady, step-by-step way is hard, because you seek something more intense to relieve yourself in a more intense way, because you're used to this. So it becomes a loop. A lot of these things become a loop. And then the other thing is procrastinate and perfectionism, which, that comes because you want to be perfect, and you want to become great. You want to become high. That causes you to basically fall to this procrastinating because of perfectionism, because they see how good things could be. They fear producing something that is imperfect, so they delay or endlessly plan, or um, start with this idea and jump to another idea and jump to a third idea and all of that. That's perfectionism. The problem with perfectionism is one of the worst things, and that causes also pornography and all of that, of course. So yeah, anyway, because so it all comes from, in a certain way you could say this all comes from fear of wasted potential. You fear wasted potential, and therefore what you fear of comes to pass just because you feared it. Because you don't do anything at the end. You don't go step by step. You want perfectionism, and it just destroys you because of that. So it comes out, the results, nothing gets finished. So the solution: how do you reclaim talent step by step instead of destroying your life and going out in all these bad ways? You use your potential and power. So what you have to do, you have to separate identity from behavior. That's the first thing. And that's very, very important, because the more personal you take it, the harder it is for you. The more you're going to feel bad about yourself. You are not your struggle. You have to understand that. And that's very important. Very important that you have struggles and you have problems. That's not you. You separate yourself from it, and then this will stop the loop. Why? Because you need relief, and you relieve yourself in a bad way. You let it explode, your potential explode in not the right way, in wrong directions, things that are not making you greater. But then how do you make a full loop? By afterwards feeling guilty, low self-esteem, feeling bad about yourself because of that, and hitting yourself because of it, and saying you're not worth anything now, and all of that, which basically causes you to go back to the same action. And by separating yourself from this, by separating yourself from this behavior, from the bad behavior, and saying, I'm not this. This is just something that I'm struggling, I'm looking at. And and then you could look at it more logically and not be emotionally attached to it and cause you to fail again. But you don't see yourself part of it. It makes you to be able to still see yourself in a good light and be able to revert back to a good direction more easily. Okay. So place escape with structure. Instead of escaping, you start making structure. Talented people, the more talented you are, sometimes the more structure you need, because the stronger a bomb or engine is, the more tools it needs to make sure it doesn't go and, God forbid, do something bad, because then it will be a catastrophe. Atomic bomb has to be more measures and more security around it. Many measures, because it's very dangerous. Nuclear weapons, they're much more security around it. So the same way, think of yourself as a nuclear weapon, and therefore you need more fences and more rails and more boundaries, which at the end of the day make when you use that potential, much greater. But you need a little bit more, you need more structure. So fixed routines, external accountability is very important, because you yourself, when you just use yourself for accountability, then it's just, you're going around in circles and you don't trust yourself. So why should you use yourself for accountability? It's very hard a lot of times to do. You need someone else for accountability. And so clear boundaries, that's also very important. And reduce decision fatigue. That's also, you have to make habits almost into automatic, because the more decision you have to put over there, the more points there is for failure. Because when you're making a decision, your potential has the option of saying, I just want to get out, burst, bang, explode. And therefore, when it's just automatic, then you're not giving room for your brain to think and say, I want to release it just the easiest way possible. And it makes it much easier to slowly build up. And of course, you need to do things that will release energy, exercise, a lot of healthy things, which normally would release the potential and the energy in a good way until you slowly build yourself up step by step and you release it in a high motivational way and in a good way and in a way that, you're so surprised about yourself, with yourself, and other people are so surprised with yourself. You're like, whoa, how did I get here? How did I become so great? Look what I was doing beforehand. That's very important. So the other thing you have to do is shrink the battlefield. That's also very important. Is talented people aim too big. Start with one habit and one commitment, one thing. Of course, this is always the way to start. The Atomic Habits points this out. Start with one little thing, a 2-minute habit, and slowly stack habits and routines and all of that. And then you're going to have to learn also, and this is a very important thing. I would say these are the most important things for someone who's having trouble with routine and someone with a lot of potential that's using them, wasting his potential, using them the wrong way. These are the two important things. I think it's one of them is start with one habit, one commitment. This will so basically starting one thing slowly. That's one of the most important things. It's 2-minute habit. And the second thing that is very important is knowing how to slide back into a good routine when things derail or things change. Let's say if something happens, a catastrophe or a disaster, tragedy, or just you're going on vacation or whatever it is. Know how to slide back into good habits and how to have routines in a way that will also work in not normal situations. And that, I think that's a separate video to I think this subject itself should be in a separate video about how to slide back into good structure after being shifted or derailed or whatever it is, or uprooted from the direction you were going, or just in times that you're taking vacation and all of that. I think that is especially important for extra talented people, because those are times when they could actually change for the worse, also change for the better, but of course you worried about the change for the worse. So this will also slowly restore your self-belief in yourself when you see you manage one thing at a time, slowly. Now, why is this? You aim so high, so why does one small thing restore your belief? The answer is you aimed so high, but you got nothing. And slowly, when after, and that's why I think also, people with a lot of potential, a lot of times first have to get not humiliated. You have to have humility. And after they have a little bit of humility, or a lot of humility, then they realize, oh no, I'm not actually that great, but not in a bad way. Like, they realize their potential, but they realize how much every small step is. Then they'll be able to slowly take one step and be like, wow, I managed this, and go on to another step and a third step and so on. And turn your pain into direction. Of course, direction is the most important. Strong desire needs discipline, and strong imagination is going to need a purpose. And strong emotion needs, meaning, you could say. But the idea is that you're going to have a purpose, a plan, not only daily habits and all of that. You're going to have a goal. A goal is not as important. The more is a purpose of life. Individual goals are not so important. The purpose of life is more important, and that's why I think it's so important to have a belief in Hashem, and go by His purpose, because there's no questions over here. When you know that Hashem, the creator of the world, who gave us everything, and He gave us a plan and a structure, and we go by that, then there's no doubt in your mind anymore, because whatever He gave you, that's the right thing, and that's what He planned. It's not what you planned, it's what He planned for the world, and that's your importance in the world, is to do what He has in mind for the world. And then you're going on a path with no questions and only very small potential of getting derailed, because it's such a high goal, or not goal, but like purpose, a high purpose in life. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I always, when I record these videos, they sound worse when I'm recording. Maybe it'll sound better after I listen to it afterwards. We'll see. But anyhow, I tried pointing out as much as possible. Usually when I get to actually recording the video, I point out much less than I had in mind to point out. So I'm sorry about that, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and share to other people. And yeah, hopefully we'll meet next week in the next self-growth video. And I'm going to try putting the Parsha video on right here, and you could just click it and check it out if you're interested in this week. And thank you very much.